Lord of mercy, it's been a day from hell already, and it hasn't even been that long of a day so far. I said I would go out by the swimming pool today. I'm afraid I can't. Can't see the pool well from here, but I was going to say, you can if I move this. You might be able to see no, the blue, thunder and lightning and all that nonsense. So we're not going outside. I don't want to get struck by lightning. I got to turn the AC on. I should have done that before I started. I had to tell you guys a bunch of crap this morning that went down. So what in the Jimmy Dean is, I am Suzanne. I'm just Suzanne that has been having quite a day. That's why I gave it that name, because it's been one of those days. One of those days, and more than just having air conditioning guys tromping in and out of the house, which has happened today. They had to replace a motherboard in the AC in the bedroom, which is what I was waiting for. My husband and I have been sleeping separate all week because I've been sleeping in the beautiful guest room that has air conditioning, and he's been sweating in the hell that does not have air conditioning, known as our bedroom. So, hey, Peg. Over the last couple of days, I've been getting some crazy comments, and I had to talk just a little bit about one I got this morning. Why? Because I was talking about the Rodriguezes. I don't know why the picture is frozen, Java Man. You might want to go out and come back in. Does anybody else have frozen picture going on? If you do, let me know, and I'll know I don't have enough bandwidth to live stream today. It's one of those days. Figures, because I'm having those kind of days. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to move it so you guys can see a little bit more of the garden. So it's good on your end. Good. So what happened? If you don't know who I am, I'm Suzanne Kumar. I used to write for Pathos for 10 years, a column called No Longer Quivering. These are my opinions. Don't bully anybody. Let me throw that out there. Pearl clutching over yeah, that's exactly what was going on. So I had somebody that left this long comment that isn't there anymore. They posted the comment this morning, but within 5 minutes, they completely deleted it. And I just had to laugh because they accused me of being a bigot and a racist, because I talked about the Rodriguezes, and the Rodriguezes, David Rodriguez is Hispanic. So that means that I am a bigot and a racist. So I kind of laughed at that. Which I was bigoted because I was always talking about homeschoolers. Did I mention anything in my video yesterday about homeschoolers being the most destructive force on earth? Nope. I just mentioned the Rodriguezes destroying crap left and right, which they've been known to do. The coquina bricks of the fort there in St. Augustine, and a number of other places they've done a lot of stuff like that, I understand. And I need to talk about what a bigot actually is. A bigot is somebody that comes in that has an attitude or a preconceived notion, and they won't and they won't examine why. They're saying, well, it's because you have this big idea about these people, this group of people. Here's the thing. Sometimes these things that are known about groups of people are a thing. Man, I'm a coon ass. I hear people say stuff in Louisiana all the time against coon asses. What's a coon ass, you might ask? It's a Cajun. It's what we call ourselves. We don't say, I'm a Cajun and I'm so proud to say, hey, coon ass. And it came from an old term, an old French term. It's connasse, I think is what it was, something similar to that. There's no speaking, reasoning, or logic with these kinds of people. Exactly right, Bliss. And I have a feeling that I know why you're being attacked like that. I'm accused of all that and more daily sometimes. I do love spiders. I love spiders, but I don't love spiders sometimes. And today was one of those non-spider loving days. So after I got accused of being a bigot and a racist, which just made me laugh, and I went to answer the person, and she completely removed her long ass comment because I had said that the Rodriguez's have been destroying crap left and right, which they have. They've been destroying crap. I got banned from a Reddit. That was pretty wild. I made a comment about, I was talking to somebody that they were talking about because I'm writing a thing for one of the British newspapers on the whole crazy hyper modesty thing. I still write. I write under a pen name now. I no longer use my real name because I'm tired of the death threats and the stupidity. So we got past all of that, and the air conditioner guy is tearing my entire bedroom apart. Hey, Jesse. And I'm fine. So spiders had one on the edge of my coat last night when I was out on the deck smoking in around the house on a screen. I almost did that, and I love spiders. I freaking love them. From my wilderness first aid course, black widow spider bites will make you sick. Brown recluse spider bites require medical attention. Yeah, no, we don't have brown recluse here. We do have black widows. But here's the thing. We also have a just huge variety of really cool spiders. Sometimes I see tarantulas. I've seen one that's this big and smaller ones. They're wild here. So you will see them. You love their webs. I love their webs, except when I walk into one of them because I'm not paying attention. So I got a little jumping spider on me today, and I see those here a lot. And I don't mind them. Here's what I do mind. They jump all the way up your clothing to look at your face, and they will do that. They're supposed to be very intelligent for spiders, so they'll come look at you if you're there and they're on you. And I don't mind until I look down. I was like, holy cow, what are you doing? And I'm getting ready to strip my clothes off in the middle of the floor. I don't care who's here, air conditioning guy, we're helping right now avoid his wife, any of that. I don't care who it is. It could be the Pope. And if there's a spider along here, I'm probably going to flip out and take my clothes off in the middle of the room. Just like I did the time my daughter put her boa constrictor on me. And I just was like, no, 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 because it went in my clothing. I love spiders. I always have. I just don't love them when they get near my head. Spiders are cute and fuzzy until they bite your face. Yeah, that too. And I have had a number of bites here. I haven't had any spider bites. And I only saw the really big tarantula when we had a tropical storm / hurricane roll through the area 6 years ago. Our electric got knocked out because it was so much rain and stuff. So we had every door and window in the joint open so we could get enough airflow going through so it wouldn't suffocate. And I walked out of the living room and I looked down and I said, what is that giant? Is that your socks, Jim? Why'd you leave your black socks? I looked down, bent down, and it was a tarantula. It was a big tarantula. It had come inside because the rain was so severe. I had to move him outside. I love spiders. I don't love them always invading my space. And we do have them here like crazy. That's my biggest fight here is to keep the spider webs down in the house. And I'm not good at it. I'm going to throw that out right now. Spider webs. So it's interesting when you talk about the Rodriguez's or the Duggars, you will get negative comments. The only thing that is worse is when you start talking about Katie Joy. When you start talking about Katie Joy, you're going to get some of our bigger, hardcore, insane supporters. They'll come here and say all kinds of crazy ass stuff. It makes me laugh because so many of them come and throw comments. And I know from the comments they're throwing what it is that Katie Joy is saying behind the scenes about myself because they're like in lockstep with groupthink, like they're all part of the Borg. They've all been acclimated. Part of the Borg, hive mind, they're all thinking the same thing. They're all saying, I don't like you because the biggest one here is your hair. They're assimilated. They're all assimilated like this. It's a shame that KJ is earning money from Jill's book. Jesse, it's kind of a sticky wicket. I'm going to talk about that a little bit too, because I started doing an in-depth review of Jill's book myself, not just her. I was doing it too. I'm not trying to make money from Jill's book. What I'm trying to do is take it and make it, hey, JJ, make it interesting make it interesting to explain everything for everybody, because not everybody has spent time in these CULTs. Like I spent, I think I counted that there was 17 years and left. Um, After my husband started to have such bad cognitive dissonance, he couldn't take it anymore. And he said he was leaving. When word got out, I started being tormented from people at my church telling me that I failed as a wife because I didn't keep him there. And it was just a whole stupid. So reading Jill's book and trying to explain some of the parts of it is what I've been trying to do. Off topic, you know where the cruise ships come into port? Bliss. I meet my friends down at the cruise ship port. It's about 2.5 hour ride, and it is Punta Arenas. I go down there sometimes. My friends come in, grab them up, grab one of the Turismo buses and say, take us on a tour of X, Y, and Z, and we do all kinds of fun stuff. I've done that before. One of my favorites. No, I mean, KJ is an affiliate of Amazon. Her link earns her money. Well, a lot of us are. I have an affiliate account for Amazon too, but I've never put on any of this. It was on my NLQ site. And it wasn't like I made a lot of money, but KJ is trying to game the system while she's saying all this ugly stuff about Jill, which I don't understand. Since I first started covering the Duggars, and the first Duggar video, the first special was, somebody said 2007, but I want to say it was 2006 because it was right around the time where I was first going through deconstruction. I was leaving my old church, and I knew a lot of things were just total and utter BS, but I didn't know the level of the total and utter BS. And to see the Duggars, every time I would watch their show, I'd want to throw up because it would be stupid. I'd be, oh God. I have a friend back in Virginia that I went to church with for ages, who is a carbon copy of Michelle. Same hair, same soft voice. She always spoke like this. And she was a homeschool mom of like 13 kids, some crazy amount of kids. The other 15-passenger van. And they did all that. They did that crap. And I was really shocked to discover recently she left her husband. Not entirely surprised, because that's one thing I know about Quiverful, and I don't think Jill will ever leave Derek because they don't fit that pattern. So many times in Quiverful, people marry others because that's the only option given to them. And God knows that Derek was Jill's only option. But sometimes, well, many times with these marriages that are put together by the families, it doesn't go according to plan, not much at all. And a lot of times you end up with an ugly divorce later and people fighting over the kids. The 7N lawsuit, I haven't been watching that at all, but it must be going very, very badly, because Without a Box of Kleenex has been showing up rather chemically altered a lot in her live streams that people are sending me clips of it. I'm looking at that going, yeah, she's not drinking this. She's drinking something way worse than Coca Ligero, Coke Light. So I don't think the lawsuit is going to be going well. JJ, you like the book? I haven't finished reading the book. I've been reading it and doing reviews of each piece of it. I put it down because I got sick and I wasn't able to think straight. And I don't like that. I like when I do things to be able to think. And that's what was so weird about the Rodriguez thing yesterday. I was still dealing with the fever and the just feeling like crud and missed some things. Aaron and I came up with a cocktail called the Toad. What is in the Toad? Please, pray tell. I can imagine I have a free audio book at Amazon I'm going to use for Jill's book. Bliss, I would recommend that. I've just now gotten to the part where they finally left the show, her and Derek, and I don't blame her a bit. I've been saying since the Duggars first came along, all the way back in 2006 or 7, that I was waiting for the day when one of the Duggar children wrote a tell-all book. Jill's book doesn't seem to be, quote, the tell-all book in the tradition that I was thinking, but there are a lot of things in there that I know are true, and I know what the theology is behind those things. So it's so gross that KJ is basically saying that Jill's a liar. Jill is not a liar. Jill, I feel bad for Jill, okay, because her father did her dirt. And the book showed very distinctly that Jim Bob Duggar is not a good guy. And he's like your most typical quiverful guy. He reminds me of my friend who reminded me of Michelle. Her husband was that type. He was like that, except that he had no sense of humor whatsoever. And he didn't smile as much as Jim Bob did. But very similar controlling natures. Very similar. And it got to the point with their family, vanilla and chocolate and vodka mixed together with whipped cream on top. Java Man, you know what you can throw in that? You take a little, one of those, Hari gummy bears, not the bears, the little frogs, and stick that on top and be perfect. So, yeah, I'm sure so back to where I was, since I'm jumping around like a frog on a griddle myself. KJ says that Jill is a liar on so many things. She's trying to make her out to be a liar on her and Derek's stance on LGBTQ. All I can say is deconstruction is a process, okay? Jill is deconstructing, and she will be for a long, long time. So is Ginger, but Ginger is not as far along on the deconstruction journey as Jill is. And as time goes on and Jill moves along, chances are good that she'll completely embrace. Oh, she says that Jill was lying about being beaten. I thought she was beating on her because of the gay thing. I'm sure Jill was beaten. Okay. That's one of the videos that I get the most hits on that I cannot monetize at all, is the one I did where I explained blanket training. Because if you were to listen to shiny, happy people and talk about blanket training, it seems like a sweet little comfortable thing where you lay your baby on a blanket and you teach him to be contently playing with toys by saying, no, darling, we'll go back on the blanket. In reality, it involves beating your child silly. Unassimilation from the hive mind takes time. Exactly. So blanket training involves taking a wooden spoon and just wailing the holy hell out of your baby as early as 6 months. So I feel very certain that Jill got beaten because her parents follow Michael and Debbie Pearl. In the earlier specials, we actually saw in one of them that To Train Up a Child was on the Duggars bookshelf. That was one of the books that they had. And to have it properly displayed, that tells me that they're still doing that crap. They believe it. She's talked about blanket training on the show and acted like it was this sweet thing, like I was talking about. When actually with blanket training, you start as early as 2 months, 2 to 3 months. Put the baby on the blanket. Baby's too small to crawl. You grab a wooden spoon and you beat the floor all around the baby to show them you mean business. That's where you start with it. And it is so loud and so traumatizing, I think, for a child to see that at that early of an age. It does take years. It takes years. I always imagine that blanket training was how KJ trained Toad after they got married. Maybe. What was left unsaid was what would happen if he left a room if he was in for more 10 hours. Ugh. No one can make a victim speak on something they don't want or aren't ready to speak on. KJ is disgusting. That's true. And the thing is, Jill was beaten. There's no doubt in my mind. If she wants to talk about it, that's what she can do. We've all talked, I think, a lot of us about the abuse we've suffered at the hands of others. I know I put up with an ocean of BS in my old church, and I kept my mouth shut so many times when I should have spoken up. When you're going through that and you're telling yourself, hey, that's not my choice, but who am I to interrupt a dear, sweet sister, brother, whatever in Christ, or say no? I was having a conversation. That's why I got booted this morning from Funny Snark. I was having a conversation with somebody who's recently emerged on the scene, and they're pushing hyper modesty. They showed a picture of themselves in their wedding dress in a not very modest kind of braggadocio type pose. It's like, oh, and started talking about how you should be modest on your wedding day. And I was looking at that post going, So I started talking to the gal about it. I started talking about what is modest, what isn't modest. We started having that conversation because, like I said, I wanted to write this article on it, and knew I needed to talk to some of the newer female cultural enforcers that are pushing this thing. And I had great fun telling her that her wedding dress would not have been considered modest in my old group. It would not have, because the sleeves were up to here, and that's not done. And it was pretty form fitted. That was also not done. We wore what amounted to potato sacks at first there, where the sleeves went all the way down to your elbow, because to expose your elbow, you were going to make some man stray into lust. And God knows, if you had any chance of showing off a bra strap, a guy would just lose it, according to my old church. And I always thought that was BS, but I wasn't brave enough to speak out, and I couldn't get my spiders to attack. Oh, so that's how I came out of that. So knowing all that, I was willing to give Jill a pass on a lot of things because she's on her deconstruction journey. It takes, elbow fetish. It takes years to process that crap out of here. I don't care how good your therapist is. It took me years. And I still deal sometimes with being triggered by things like Jill's book, Shiny Happy People, commenters coming on to call me a racist, which was kind of fun. Why is it doing this? I'm gonna skip the ads. It's telling me that it's going to be a bunch of ads. I'm not doing that. Elbow fetish. Yeah, elbow fetish. Scarred elbow fetish. Got a big scar that I had surgery. So you couldn't show any of that stuff. And it was torturous in the summertime, let me tell you. So every time I see Jill wearing jeans or wearing a bandana on her head, whatever, I could see that she's on her journey. So for KJ to claim that she's not being beaten and that this didn't happen or that didn't happen, or she and Derek are racist or they're bigoted or any of that nonsense, it's just like, no, she is on her journey out. And those are the people, to me, that deserve the most mercy, not the ones still in lockstep promoting what it is that the Duggars do. I don't do that. Those people, like the Rodriguezes, deserve as much approbation you could throw at them from whatever angle, especially the Rodriguezes, even though they are very low down on the totem pole of quote, quiverful fame. Everything about them just horrifies me. I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't like the Rodriguezes. Every time I look at Jill's Instagram, I'm just like, oh, very triggering, particularly when she starts going off about politics and posting things that I know darn good and well are a lie, which she does quite a bit. Jill is notorious for that stuff. So why KJ doesn't cover Jill, I don't know. Jill is a gold mine material. And I had to cover the thing with them defacing the railing and the Pawpaw Tunnel of the C&O Canal Park, because it was the, like I said, the third time that they have actually caused damage to a National Park Service thing in the Victorian area. Nothing more provocative than a woman's ankle. Java Man, right now I am I'm watching for the first time because I only saw episode 1 and 2 the first time it rolled around on HBO. I'm watching the show about, I can't even think of the name of it. Stupid. What's the name of it? It's a show about the late 1800s, early 1900s. That stars Cynthia Nixon as one of the people that's on the show, and Christine Baranski are the two sisters. And it's all about that time frame when you have ankles showing, which sends somebody off on the sin. It's a trip. I couldn't live like that. I'm looking at the amount of clothes they're wearing, thinking, oh my God, you're sweat to death. If you wore that in New Orleans, you'd die. Jill loves under rules for thee, but not for me adage. Exactly. Jill Rodriguez always does. And I disliked her, but she earned my sternest dislike when she had her kitchen remodeled at the same time she was doing her daughter's wedding. And now that I have married off my youngest daughter, I really have disdain for Jill, because we paid pretty good penny for a wedding, but it was actually a budget wedding. We actually did it pretty cheaply, and I know how much work, time, planning, and money it took. So to see that hot mess of a Dollar Tree wedding that she threw her eldest daughter, I just couldn't believe it. I was like that. Because you're going to want to put on some kind of spread, even if you yourself are doing all the work. She could have turned out a decent wedding for no more money than what she spent. But she chose to go the stupid way, the least amount of things. So why is KJ not talking about her? There is a lot to talk about with Jill Rodriguez. And when I first started doing YouTube, it was because Pathos wanted us all to start taking advantage of other media. And I didn't have a good connection at all. So all my early videos are like in and out, and did silly stuff like the countdown to the Rodriguez wedding, because Nuri had been trying to get married for a long time. And there's just so much to dislike there with Jill Rodriguez. She didn't feed her kids. Her kids are her kids are not anorexic. Her kids are tiny. Let's just put it that way. So I suspect she doesn't feed her children. And when we see them shopping, it's just like, oh my gosh. Or when they go out to eat and what they buy just blows my mind. They will take an adult portion and portion it between 3 or 4 of their kids. That's the only bad thing about the Rodriguezes getting caught defacing public property like that. It's a minimum like a $500 fine. And I'm afraid that means that those kids are going to get fed a lot less. Java Man, if you ever see pictures of those kids, they all look malnourished. They're all skinny. They all have dark bags under their eyes, dark circles, sallow skin, the whole 9 yards. I am so incredibly malnourished that I look like a scarecrow sort of thing. And the way she dresses them in the leftover bins it looks like the leftover bins of Goodwill. But she and David are always going, yes, they always take little minor vacations together away from all the kids. And neither one of them are what you would call thin either, even though Jill promotes Plexus. She is a Plexus ambassador, and she's always bragging about how much weight she's losing on Plexus. Girl, I don't see it. None of us see it. We just see you stay the same size, which is normal size. David, big size. And then your children look almost like, I hate to even say it, concentration camp survivors sometimes. So they're always going away. They're always going out to restaurants and having big meals and dividing an entree between 3 or 4 kids. It's kind of sad to watch. But here's the thing, when you talk about the Rodriguezes, you get a major pushback. I don't really know why they are so beloved, but they are. Even with the Duggars, you would get normally a lot of pushback. Once Josh's little shenanigans happen, you start having a lot less Duggar huggers, a lot less. So the fox is definitely in the hen house with the Duggars. They're never going to be able to recover, I think, from Jill's book and from all the other things coming out. And my understanding is Shiny Happy People is going to have season 2. And I hope they explore a little deeper some of the things like I said, they took blanket training. They mentioned it a few times, but they didn't show what it actually was. So many of these things. And that's why I'm going so slowly through Jill's book. I want to be able to explain each and every one of these crazy things that they talk about and that she thought were absolutely normal when she was with her family that are not absolutely normal, absolutely abnormal. Anyway, I better go. Jim is doing his teaching job today, and I'm supposed to be cleaning my art studio. It is a hot mess, but I have my bedroom AC back, so I'm really happy. I'm kind of sad to be moving out of the yes room. And I did think about KJ during all of that too, because her and Toad sleep separately. My husband and I have been sleeping separately for the last week because I moved into the guest room with the AC. He stayed in the hot bedroom, and it was kind of interesting. My cats protected me. That was funny. But it was interesting. I slept really well for the first time in a long, long time. I didn't have to put up with him getting up and laying down. So I can kind of see where KJ is coming from with this, but it's probably not a good way to run your marriage. I think the child sleeps with KJ. Yes, he does. She's talked about that a bunch of times. So the child sleeps with her. It's kind of sad. Why would you have a family like that? Anyway, that's just my 2 bits. So thanks, Peg. Thank you. Thank you guys for watching and putting up with me as I'm spider loving, as I'm being a racist and a bigot and getting kicked out of places. I'm just full of it today. I'm full of nonsense. So what else will happen today? I have crazy things happen in spades. So I'm expecting to find a crab in the pool or something when I go swimming after it stops thundering. Love you guys. Have a great day.